Hello guys, welcome to my YouTube channel from SVC. I am from Department of the Electronic and Communication, third semester Astrostat Network Analysis. Today I want to discuss about the topic classification of electrical network. Introduction. An electrical network is an interaction of electrical components, for example batteries, resistors, inductors, capacitors, switches and transistors, are the model of such an interaction consisting of electrical elements. For example, voltage source, current source, resistance and inductance, capacitance. An electrical circuit is a network consisting of a closed loop giving a return path for the current through all the circuits or the networks, but not all the networks are circuits. Although networks without a closed loop are often impressively referred to as a circuits. Classification of electrical networks. So in the electrical networks, based on the presence or and absence of sources, we can divide as a active network, passive network. Based on the direction of current, unilateral network and bilateral network, and based on the separability of the components, lumped networks and distributed networks. Based on the characteristic or linearity is a linear network and the non-linear network. So based on the presence of sources, the first one is active network. In active network is a network architecture that allows for the modifications of network operations by the packets flowing through a network. It's a new approach to the network control that allows for the constructions of the functionalities to be applied packets inside the router. An active network in electrical system is a network that has at least any one source of the voltage or current that can supply the energy to the network indefinitely. A battery or a generator are the examples for this active network. Then the second one is the passive network. In the passive network, that network are used as unpowered devices, components to transmit data and the signals, where the passive networks are often used in a fiber optic networks such as passive optical networks, PONS, and are made up of components like cables, connectors and the splitters. These are the passive networks. Then the second, based on the direction of the current, we divided as a bilateral network. In bilateral networks is a circuit or a network that has same behavior and the characteristic regardless of the direction of a current through its elements. In bilateral networks, the current magnitudes remains the same even when the voltage polarity is reversed. So in the figure, the bilateral network is given where the circuit or a network made for only independent sources and resistors. In the examples, linear bilateral network. The second one is unilateral network. In unilateral networks is a circuit that behave as a differently depending on the direction of the current flowing through it. The current in unilateral networks only flows in one direction. For example, unilateral networks, diodes and transistors. So the diodes is a unilateral circuit element that only allows the current to flow in only one direction. A PN junction diode only conducts with P region connected to the higher voltage and N region is connected to the lower voltage, where the transistors is another examples for the unilateral circuit. So these are the unilateral network. Then the third one is based on the separability. looped networks. It is a network where all the elements are physically separable and often simplified. The versions of distributed networks were useful in many areas, including electrical systems, mechanical systems, heat transfer. These examples, most electrical circuits, passive network, a circuit which contains no energy source is called passive network. So there are two types voltages are used. One is alternating current means AC and the direct current DC. Then in the second one, the distributed networks. In the distributed networks is a network architecture where the data and computing resources are spread across a multiple nodes which works together, such as signal network. It also known as a peer to peer X network or decentralized networks. For example, telephone and cellular networks, the internet, blockchains, secure access service edges, SASC, the edge computing for IoT, server distributed networking. Based on the linearity, the linear network, a linear network is a network where the resistance of each component remains same regardless of a current value. This network exhibit a constant parameters, the resistance, inductance. In other word, these parameters do not change with the change in voltage or current. Working through a linear network similar to one might think due to its consistency of a characteristic. Then the second one, the linear non-linear network. In non-linear network, the it contains the least one non-linear element that not include the independent source voltage and current. Like here also examples, diodes, transistors, Genier diode, iron core inductors and transformer, mixers, modulators, rectifiers, radio receiver, detectors, digital logic circuits. These circuits are separate in non-linear way. So in the non-linear networks, there are inputs, neutron layer and the outputs. In the figure we are observing. Thank you.